Good day. Today we'll be solving a question on indical equations. And we have a problem on the board and it says 2 raised to the power of x plus 2 raised to the power of minus x and is equal to what? 2. Find x. Now, looking at this question, what do you think we can do? The only thing that we can do is to apply one of the laws of indices they call the negative law of indices. And the negative law of indices says that if you have a number a raised to the power of the negative what power, the result is what? 1 all over that same number without the negative sign. So applying this principle here, we are going to have 2 raised to the power of x plus 1 all over 2 raised to the power of x is equal to what? 2. Now, at this point, we can what? Take what? LCM. We can take LCM of this, or we can multiply through by 2 raised to the power of what? X. Let's take LCM of this. So, taking LCM, the LCM of 2 raised to the power of x all over 1 plus 1 all over 2 raised to the power of x is what? 2 raised to the power of x. Therefore, 2 raised to the power of x all over 2 raised to the power of x divided by 1 gives us what? 2 raised to the power of x times this gives us what? 2 raised to the power of x times what? 2 raised to the power of what? X plus 2 raised to the power of x divided by 2 raised to the power of x gives us what? 1. 1 times 1 gives us what? 1. And is equal to what? 2. Now again, from the multiplication law of indices, it is said that if two numbers have the same base, or if two numbers having the same base are multiplying each other, you add their power. What that statement means is that a raised to the power of x multiplied by a raised to the power of y, the result is always what? A raised to the power of x plus y. The multiplication law of indices states, and I repeat, that a raised to the power of x multiplied by a raised to the power of y, the result is what? A raised to the power of what? X plus y. So when they have the same base, this implies that 5 raised to the power of what? 2 times 5 raised to the power of what? 3. The result should be what? 5 raised to the power of what? 2 plus what? 3, which gives you 5 raised to the power of what? 5. Applying that same principle here, you are going to get what? 2 raised to the power of what? Because they have the same base, you add the power, so it becomes x plus what? X plus what? 1 all over what? 2 raised to the power of x is equal to what? 2. Now what do? We add this and it gives us what? 2 raised to the power of what? 2x plus 1 all over what? 2 raised to the power of x is equal to what? 2. At this point, the only logical thing we could do is to what? Cross multiply. I'm always of the opinion that instead of crossing like this, you don't cross like this. You always write it out as what? Cross multiply. Because some students, in an attempt to cross multiply, it looks as if they have cancelled the work because they can practically just cross everything here, and lo and behold, it looks like that work has been what? Cancelled. Now we can continue with this as what? 2 raised to the power of x or 2 raised to the power of 2x plus 1 is equal to 2 times 2 raised to the power of what? X. At this point, what do we do? Looking at this question, we can if you notice from the question, we have 2 raised to the power of x here, and we equally have 2 raised to the power of x as part of this what? Expression. So we can say let y is equal to what? 2 raised to the power of x. So it becomes what? Easier to what? Solve. So we can make this 2 raised to the power of x. 2 raised to the power of x now becomes y squared plus 1 is equal to 2 times what? Y. Y squared plus 1 is equal to what? 2y. At this point, for those of you that are conversant with quadratic equation, it is looking like a quadratic equation. We just have to bring this to this other side of the equality sign. So it becomes y squared minus 2y plus 1 is equal to what? 0. We now have a quadratic equation. Now, there are so many ways we can solve this problem. And one of the ways is what? Factorization. For quadratic equation, you can solve using factorization. You can solve using completing the square method. And finally, you can solve using what? The formula method. Some persons call it the almighty formula, but it's just what? The quadratic formula. So I'm going to use the factorization method. For the factorization method, we are going to what? Look at what we refer to as sum and product. Sum and what? Product. So for the sum, we are going to multiply this first term here and the what? Last term. So the coefficient of what? The coefficient of what? Y square and what? This. So let's look at it. Y square times 1 gives us what? Y square. And again, that's what? The what? Product. Now we also have what? Minus 2y, which gives us what? The sum. So we are going to look for two numbers. Two numbers, when we multiply them, they give us what? The product. When we add them, they give us what? The sum. The two numbers that we can possibly think of is what? Y and y. But if you look at y times y gives you what? Y squared. But y plus y does not give you minus 2y. It gives you what? 2y. So we are just going to add negative signs to it. And that gives us what? The factors. The factors now becomes what? Minus y and what? Minus y. So we are going to replace minus 2y with what? Minus y and minus y. And it's going to be represented in this format. Y squared minus y plus 1 equal to what? 0. This is still the same thing as what? Representing minus y still gives us what? 2y. We are just representing it like this so we can what? Factorize. So what is common here? What can go through y square and y? The only number of letter that can go through y square and y is what? Y. So we open a bracket. Y square divided by y gives us what? Y. Minus y divided by y gives us what? 1. We close the bracket. So what can go through these two? What can go through? What? 1. So let's put plus 1. Or minus 1 rather. Minus 1. Minus y divided by minus 1 gives us what? Y. Minus 1 divided by minus 1 gives us what? Minus 1 equal to what? 0. There is one thing you need to remember when using what? The factorization method is that these two numbers or these two expressions inside the bracket must be what? Identical. If they are not identical, there is something wrong with your what? Problem. So we can take one of these and it becomes what? Y minus 1 into what? Y minus what? 1 equal to what? 0. Therefore, y minus 1 equal to 0 or y minus 1 equal to what? 0. And finally, y is equal to 1 or y is equal to what? 1. Now, if you could recall, our solution or the question did not ask us to find for y, it said find for x. So we are going to bring back this equation which says y is equal to, you can say but y is equal to 2 raised to the power of x, and y now is equal to 1, equal to what? 2 raised to the power of what? X. So what do we do? There is a law in indices they call what? The zero law. Anytime you are looking at questions that involves indices or index, have it at the back of your mind that you are either going to make the powers to be the same or the base to be the same. That's the premise upon which you can what? Solve questions that involve what? Indices. So 2 raised to the power of 0 is what? 1. So instead of writing 1, we are going to express this as what? 2 raised to the power of 0 equal to 2 raised to the power of what? X. Therefore, x is equal to what? 0. If you are done with this, we can simply what? Check our answer. So let's check. Checking our answer, you have what? 2 raised to the power. Now we know that the value of x is what? 0. So let's replace it with what? 0. 2 raised to the power of 0 plus what? 2 raised to the power of what? Minus 0. Minus 0 still gives us 0. So let's just say everything here is 0. Equal to what? The right hand side. Right hand side. 2 raised to the power of 0. We earlier said that any number raised to the power of 0 gives us 1. Therefore, 1 plus 1 equal to 2. And we equal to right hand side equal to what? Right hand side. And we have what? Solve this question. Any question?